The night is quiet now. The air is still, as though the earth itself has slowed its breath. You rest beneath the soft veil of darkness, where stars glimmer like scattered seeds of light. Their glow is steady, never rushed, never loud. They remind you of balance. They remind you of cycles. They remind you that all things return. In the old teachings of ancient cults and temples, punishment was never seen as a whip across the soul. It was not a cruel ending, nor a sharp break. It was seen as a circle, a soft return. Every deed, like a stone dropped into water, created ripples. Those ripples stretched outward, touching others, touching the world, and touching the heavens. And then, like all circles, the ripples returned again. You drift into this thought, as if standing at the edge of a quiet lake. The moon leans over the water, silver and watchful. When a leaf falls, it does not drown harshly, but floats circling, until it rests. So too did the ancients believe a soul must find its way back to balance. Punishment was not to crush, but to guide. Not to harm, but to remind. Imagine a sacred circle drawn in sand, its edges smooth, its shape complete. In some desert traditions, when one strayed from harmony, the elders would lead them back into the circle. To stand inside it was to remember the whole, to remember that no action stands alone. Everything connects, everything returns. The circle was a teacher, the circle was mercy, the circle was the reminder that the end is never truly an end. You feel your body soften now, like a branch bending gently in the wind. Your breath becomes part of the rhythm. Inhale. Exhale. Like the circle, your breath begins, and it returns. There is no punishment in the breath, only rhythm, only return. The ancients told stories by firelight. The flames flickered and bent, but always curved back into themselves. The sparks that rose into the sky did not vanish. They joined the stars. Even the smoke that drifted upward returned again as clouds and rain. To them, nothing was ever lost. The circle of gentle consequence held everything together. And so, when one had wandered too far, their punishment was simple: to sit by the fire, to listen to the elders speak of stars, to watch the sparks climb, to feel the weight of the circle drawing them home. It was discipline, yes, but wrapped in calmness. It was correction, but clothed in comfort. You can see it now, can't you? The soft night sky. The people gathered close. The circle of stones around the fire. The voice of an elder, steady and low, speaking not in anger, but in patience. Their words do not strike. They soothe, they guide like a river guides a boat, and the one who listens learns, not through fear, but through remembering. The circle was not only in stories, it was in the heavens. The moon returned each month to fullness. The sun returned each day to light. The seasons circled, carrying both hardship and harvest, both cold and bloom. Punishment, too, was not a blow, but a season. It came, and it passed. It was part of the greater turning. Imagine yourself in such a world. You make a mistake, as all souls do. The people do not shout, the gods do not rage. Instead, you are brought into a circle. You are asked to sit. You are asked to breathe. You are asked to remember. The punishment is time. The punishment is stillness. The punishment is reflection. And slowly, gently you see the circle close and you feel whole again. The ancients spoke of balance as the heart of justice. To them, a broken action was like a wheel with a crack. It would not turn smoothly until the crack was mended. So the circle of consequence was the healer. It placed hands upon the fracture. It smoothed the wheel again. You drift deeper into this image, a wheel turning, steady and slow, round and round like the moon in the sky, round and round, like waves against the shore, shundi and round, like your own breath tonight. Each turn is soft. Each turn is necessary. Each turn brings you closer to rest. Listen now, as if you were hearing the whispers of an old temple, columns rising into twilight, torches flickering in hollow stone halls. The priests speak softly of the circle, their chants echoing like gentle rain. They tell you that consequence is not an enemy. It is a companion. It follows. It waits. It teaches. It does not break you. It brings you back. And if your spirit has wandered too far, the circle does not close in anger. It closes in love. It embraces, like arms wrapping around a child. It reminds you of the path without force. It shows you the way by simply being whole. Now, you can almost feel the ground beneath you glowing faintly, a circle drawn by light. It surrounds you, not as a prison, but as protection. It tells you that you are safe here. Every action you release will return, yes, but it will return with gentleness. You are not trapped. You are held. This is the secret of the circle. It is both consequence and comfort. It is both justice and mercy. It is both lesson and lullaby. Your breath slows further. The rhythm deepens. The body sinks into its own circle of stillness. The heart beats softly, like a drum heard far away. Steady, patient, balanced. The circle was not only for punishment, but for forgiveness. For the ancients believed that once the circle was complete, once the return was made, all was cleansed. The soul was whole again. No scars, no shame, just balance. Imagine now that you stand in such a circle. The stars above you form a perfect ring. The earth beneath you is curved, and round you are part of the whole. You are forgiven always, as soon as the circle closes. And the circle always closes. The fire before you fades to embers. The voices of the elders fall quiet. The night deepens, but it does not frighten. It wraps around you like a cloak, warm and safe. The circle is complete. The lesson is learned. The soul is at peace. Let the thought carry you deeper now. No straight lines, no harsh ends, only curves, only circles, only return. The river bends back to the sea. The seed returns to the soil, the breath returns to the air, and you return to rest. The circle has no sharpness. Cruelty, it moves like moonlight across water. It moves like the tide across sand. It moves like sleep across your waiting eyes. So close your eyes. If they are not yet closed, feel the circle hold you. Feel the gentle consequence of stillness. There is no judgment here, no pain, only return. The circle turns, and with it, you turn, softly, quietly, eternally. Now rest. The stars watch above. The fire breathes low. The circle is whole, and you are safe within it. Let us drift onward, into deeper dreams. Carried by the circle of gentle consequence, the night deepens, and the stars stretch wide across the sky. You are carried gently now, away from the circle of firelight, and into the vast desert. The air is cool, the sands are silver beneath the moon. Every grain lies still, as if listening. The desert is a place of silence, a place where the soul hears itself more clearly than anywhere else. In ancient traditions, when one had wandered from harmony, punishment was not given with hands. It was given with space. They were led into the desert, not to be lost, not to be broken, but to listen. The silence of the sands was the teacher. The endless horizon was the guide. You walk in this vision now. The sand is soft beneath your feet. The night air brushes your skin like a feather. Each step is slow, unhurried. There is nowhere to rush. The punishment is simply to walk, to breathe, to feel the vastness pressing gently against the restless mind. Far away, a dune rises like a sleeping wave. You climb it slowly, each step sinking into the cool grains. The stars above remain patient. They do not hurry. They do not fade. They watch, silent and kind, as you reach the crest. At the top, the desert opens before you like an ocean, a sea of silver ripples, dunes curving like waves frozen in time. The silence is endless, and within that silence, you begin to hear something deeper, the sound of your own breath, the sound of your own heart, the sound of your own thoughts, circling softly within. This was the punishment of the ancients, to walk into the desert, to sit upon the dunes, and to hear oneself. It was not meant to wound, but to heal. For in the stillness, every burden rises to the surface, every forgotten word, every shadowed feeling. They come forward, not to punish, but to be seen. You sit now on the cool sand. The moonlight paints your face. The wind moves gently, shaping the dunes into curves. Each grain once scattered now lies in its place, and so too does your spirit begin to settle. The punishment has become a gift. The silence is no longer heavy. It is soft. It is full. It is alive with meaning. The ancients said the desert holds mirrors, not mirrors of glass but mirrors of the soul. The wide emptiness reflects back everything you bring to it. If you carry sorrow, the desert shows you sorrow. If you carry peace, the desert shows you peace. And when you stay long enough, when the silence deepens, the desert shows you truth. That truth was the gentlest correction of all. Imagine now the stars reflected in your eyes. Each one is a story. Each one is a memory of a soul who walked before you. The desert holds them all. Every grain of sand was once part of stone, part of mountain, part of river. Everything returns. Everything waits. And so you too are part of this great stillness. The punishment is patience. The punishment is waiting. The punishment is being small beneath the endless dome of the night. But it is a sweet smallness, like a child resting in a parent's arms. It humbles, but it does not hurt. It teaches, but it does not wound. A faint breeze moves, carrying with it the scent of earth, the coolness of distant water hidden deep below. The desert is not empty, it is full of hidden life. So too are you not empty. You are full of breath, full of thought, full of spirit. The punishment reveals this fullness. The silence makes it clear. You close your eyes. The sand cradles you like a bed. The sky leans close, whispering softly. The desert becomes not exile, but embrace, a vast hand holding you in stillness until your soul finds balance once more. The ancients believed that when you returned from the desert, you returned lighter. The silence had burned away your heaviness. The stars had reminded you of your place in the circle. The sand had taught you patience. And so the punishment had already done its work. Without whip, without chain, without harshness. Only reflection, only silence. Only the desert. Your breath slows now. The desert still surrounds you. The stars are steady. The dunes do not move. The silence deepens, and you are safe within it. Now drift onward. Let the desert stillness carry you deeper into rest. The sands will hold you, the stars will watch you, and the silence will teach you until sleep arrives, soft as a veil. The night softens further, and now the sound of water arrives. You drift from the silence of the desert into the gentle murmur of a river. Moonlight rests upon its surface, shimmering like silver threads. The water moves slowly, steady, unending. It flows like time itself. It flows like thought. It flows like breath. In the teachings of ancient cults, rivers were more than streams of water. They were teachers, healers, judges, and guides. When a soul had strayed, punishment did not come as fire or blade. It came as water. The one who had wandered would be brought to the riverbank. They would sit by its edge. They would watch the currents, hear the flowing song, and be asked to stay until they felt the lesson within. The river embraced all things. Leaves that had fallen, dust carried by the wind, even stones worn smooth by time. The river took them gently, never rejecting, never harsh. To be punished by the river was to be held by its embrace. The currents would wash away heaviness, and the soul would be carried onward, cleansed, purified, restored. You sit now upon the river's edge. The grass is cool beneath your hands. The night air smells of damp earth, rich and sweet. You lean closer to the water, hearing its endless song. It does not scold. It does not strike. It whispers. It hums. It reminds. The ancients would ask the guilty to place their hands into the stream, to feel the chill, to feel the flow, to remember that every deed moves outward like water. A kind word, a cruel word, a quiet choice. All flow beyond us, touching lives we may never see. The river carried this truth, gentle and steady. It was punishment, yes, but punishment that forgave as it taught. You imagine placing your own hands into the river now. The coolness is a balm against the warmth of your skin. The water flows between your fingers, never held, never trapped. It reminds you of time passing, of burdens slipping away, of mistakes dissolving into something larger, softer, eternal. The river was not only a place of cleansing, but of reflection. The ancients saw their faces in the water and were reminded of who they were. Ripples bent the image, showing how choices distort the soul. But as the ripples calmed, the face returned, whole and true. So too, they believed, did punishment calm the spirit, returning the soul to clarity. The current drifts onward, and with it, your thoughts drift too. The river carries your worries, your restlessness, your heaviness. Each exhale is a ripple. Each ripple is released into the current, and the the current does not resist. It welcomes, it carries, it releases. There were stories told by the banks of sacred rivers, stories of spirits who entered the waters to be reborn, stories of heroes who laid down their weapons in the stream and rose cleansed of anger, stories of wanderers who found their way home, guided by the song of running water. The river was punishment, but it was also a doorway. To step into it was to step toward renewal. You stand now at the water's edge in this dream of ancient nights. You step slowly, your feet sinking into the cool current. It swirls around your ankles, neither pulling nor pushing, simply embracing. The punishment is to stay, to let the water do its work, to allow the embrace to soften the spirit, and so you stay, resting in the flow. Above you, the moon glows brighter. Its reflection stretches across the rippling surface. For a moment, the moon seems to float upon the river itself, and in that image lies another lesson. Even the greatest light finds its reflection in gentle waters. Even the strongest force can be carried by the flow. The ancients believed that when you left the river, you left lighter. Your heart, once burdened, was washed. Your mind, once restless, was calmed. Your soul, once fractured, was whole. The punishment was done, but it did not leave scars. It left only clarity, like the surface of water after ripples fade. The sound of the current fills your ears now. It is steady, like a heartbeat. It does not rush. It does not end. It continues eternal as you sink deeper into rest. The river embraces you. It forgives you. It carries you. And as you drift with it, the stars above shimmer like lanterns guiding your way. You are safe. You are held. You are whole. The river flows onward. And so do you, into stillness, into peace, into sleep. The desert night is still. The stars shine like ancient lamps above the dark horizon. Far away, a temple stands in silence, its stones warmed by the memory of sun. Torches glow along its walls, their flames bending gently in the breath of the night wind. Inside, the air is cool and heavy with incense. The smoke curls upward like threads of prayer, softening the edges of the vast chamber. Here, in the heart of Egypt's sacred halls, the story of the feather begins. The ancients spoke of Myat, the goddess of truth, balance, and cosmic order. Her symbol was a feather, light, delicate, untouchable by the weight of pride. To live by her law was to live in harmony. To live against it was to walk with heaviness. And when life ended, the soul was brought to the hall of judgment, where the heart would be weighed. Imagine now this hall, vast and timeless. Columns carved with sacred figures rise high, their shadows stretching long across the stone floor. Golden lamps flicker, casting warm light against polished walls. You walk slowly, your footsteps quiet, your breath steady. The hall feels endless yet calm. It is not a place of fear. It is a place of balance. At the center rests the great scales, one side empty, waiting, the other side holding only a single feather. Not heavy, not sharp, just soft, pure, perfectly light. This was Myat's feather, the measure of truth, the measure of harmony. In this vision, the heart is placed upon the scale, not the beating heart of flesh, but the heart of the soul, carrying memories, choices, and secrets. It rests upon the bronze plate, glowing faintly with the light of all it has carried. The scale trembles. The feather waits. The room falls into silence. This was the punishment of the ancients. Not flame, not chains, not the lash of a whip. The punishment was the truth. If the heart was heavy with falsehood, the scales would tilt. If the heart was light with honesty, the scales would stay in balance. The lesson was simple. What we carry within cannot be hidden. It returns always to the measure of the feather. Close your eyes and picture the feather. It floats in the air, untouched. It rests softly against the bronze. Its weight is almost nothing, yet it carries all meaning. To the ancients, this was justice. Gentle, clear, inevitable. The heart was not always found to be heavy. Many hearts were light, having lived with kindness, with patience, with truth. For them, the scales stayed balanced. The punishment was only a pause, a reminder of the circle they had walked. And then the soul passed onward, into peace, carried like a bird into the fields of eternity. For others, the scales tipped. The heart sank lower than the feather, pulled down by hidden burdens. This too was not cruelty, but consequence. The ancients believed the soul must face what it had carried, must return to the cycle until it learned. Even here, punishment was not rage, but return. The circle turned once more, giving the soul another chance to walk in balance. You breathe slowly now, as though your own chest were being weighed. Each inhale fills you with lightness. Each exhale releases heaviness. With every breath, The feather drifts closer to balance. The punishment of the scales feels not like fear but like clarity. The soul is simply shown the truth it already knows. The temple around you glows with warmth. Priests in white linen whisper prayers of Maat, their voices low and steady, rising like the smoke of incense. Their words are soft, like the rustle of wings. They do not shout. They do not curse. They simply call upon truth to reveal itself. And truth arrives gently, like dawn over the horizon. You can almost hear the scales creak softly as they balance. The feather does not tremble. It rests in perfect stillness. And in that stillness lies peace. For the ancients, this was the highest justice, not fear but stillness. Not torment but balance. Not cruelty but the soft reminder that harmony matters more than power. Imagine for a moment your own heart placed upon the scale. You feel its warmth, its steady beat. You see it glowing faintly, carrying all your joys, all your sorrows, all your choices. And then you see the feather, light, white, eternal. The two meet in silence. The scales rest. There is no judgmental voice, no harsh decree, only balance, only truth. The ancients trusted this vision. They believed the universe itself would keep the scales true, and so their punishment was not chaos but order, not noise but quiet, not fire but a feather. The hall grows quieter still. The lamps burn low. The scales stand unmoving. The feather rests, timeless. Your breath slows to match the stillness. The heart grows lighter with each moment until it feels as though it, too, could float like the feather in the air. This image carries you deeper into calm. For the ancients taught that when the scales balanced, the soul was free. Free to cross into the fields beyond. Free to walk under eternal skies. Free to rest in peace. And so, too, tonight, you are free to drift. Free to let go of weight. Free to rest in balance. The punishment has no sting. It is only a reminder. Live lightly, breathe gently, let truth guide you. When the feather meets the heart, harmony is found. And harmony is the sweetest rest. The hall fades slowly. The scales dissolve into shadow. The feather drifts upward, disappearing into the night air. You are left in stillness, as soft as the breath of the desert wind. Your body sinks deeper into rest, as though you yourself were the feather, carried by unseen hands. The story closes now. The punishment is not pain, but peace. Not fear, but balance. Not loss, but clarity. The stars outside still shine. The river still flows. The desert still waits. And the feather still drifts, eternal, in the silence of night. Now rest as the scales grow quiet, as the temple doors close, as the stars return. Let us drift onward into deeper dreams carried by the weight of feathers. The night deepens. Stars gather above like lanterns hung in a vast and endless sky. The air is still, holding silence like a soft blanket. In the distance, a dark mouth of stone appears, an ancient cave hidden within the folds of earth. Its entrance glows faintly with the memory of fire, as if once, long ago, seekers sat within its walls, waiting, watching, listening. You step closer. The ground beneath your feet is cool, dusty stone smoothed by the passing of many pilgrims. The cave is not threatening. It does not call with fear, it invites. It welcomes you into its silence, into its breathless hush. The ancients believed punishment could come not through pain, but through stillness. One who had spoken too harshly, who had scattered words like sharp stones, was guided into the cave. There they were asked to wait in quiet. No sound of their own, only the echoes of earth and the distant drop of water. The silence became their teacher. The listening became their path back to balance. You enter now, slowly. The air cools and the smell of damp stone surrounds you. Your footsteps echo softly, as if the cave itself remembers each sound. You sit upon a flat rock and the silence folds around you like a cloak. It is heavy yet gentle. It presses against you, but not to harm, only to soften what was once sharp. Within the stillness, every sound grows large. The faint flutter of a bat's wings, the slow drip of water into a hidden pool, the quiet rhythm of your own breath. The cave teaches that silence is not empty. It is full of secrets. It is full of voices too soft for the noisy world to hear. For those of the ancient cult, the punishment of the cave was not cruel. It was a mirror. It showed how words could wound, how noise could scatter the soul. In silence, the heart returned to itself. In stillness, the spirit remembered its own song. You feel the walls close around you now, not as prison, but as shelter. They hold you steady, as a mother might hold her child. As night holds the stars, the quiet deepens. The cave breathes. You breathe with it. The ancients said that in such silence you would begin to hear the earth itself, the slow turning of stone, the hum of roots reaching deep, the pulse of hidden waters. All things spoke in whispers, and in listening the soul was healed. Punishment became renewal. Not a lash, not a wound, but the chance to hear again. To hear truth, to hear balance, to hear the soft music of life beneath all sound. You rest against the rock, your eyes closed now. In the stillness, visions drift before you. A bird in flight, its wings spread wide. A child laughing by a fire, a river flowing beneath moonlight. Each image floats, rising and fading like smoke. The cave does not scold, it reminds, it returns. It teaches gently without voice. The longer you sit, the lighter you feel. The silence is no longer heavy. It is clear like a calm lake reflecting stars. The punishment has dissolved into blessing. The lesson has become gift. Your heart, once restless, now beats slowly, like a drum far away. Outside, the night remains. The stars still shine. But inside the cave, you discover another sky. A sky of inner quiet, vast and endless, where no voice needs to rise, because all is already known. The ancient ones would leave the cave changed. They would step into the night air, their words softened, their hearts opened. They carried silence with them, like a hidden treasure, not as punishment, but as wisdom. You remain here a little longer, breathing, listening, resting in the gentle dark. The cave holds you as a cradle. It rocks you with silence. It soothes you with stillness. And when you are ready, you will rise, walk back into the moonlit world, carrying the cave's hush within your chest. But for now you drift, you rest, you listen. The cave speaks without words. And you, in your quiet heart, understand. Now let us drift onward, into deeper rest, into softer dreams, as the stars return above you. The dream carries you further. The cave fades behind, its silence still echoing in your chest like a soft bell. Ahead the air warms, and the scent of earth and blossoms drifts gently toward you. The stars shine brighter, revealing rows of vines, flowers, and trees. A hidden garden waiting in the night. This is no ordinary garden. It is a place tended in shadow, a place where the moon guides more than the sun. Leaves glisten with silver dew, and petals glow faintly under starlight, as if they have learned to drink from darkness itself. The ancients believed that punishment could also mean service. When a soul grew careless, forgetting to honor the living world, they were brought here, to the Garden of Shadows. Their task was simple, yet never small: to tend the earth in silence, to mend what had been forgotten, to give back what had been taken. You step among the rows. The soil is cool beneath your feet, soft, rich, alive. The air hums with hidden crickets, with night birds singing far away. Lanterns flicker faintly, their light swaying with the wind. Shadows stretch long between the plants, but nothing here feels frightening. The shadows are gentle. They guide, they shelter, they teach patience. To work in this garden was a punishment without chains. No harsh word, no heavy hand. Only the quiet duty of care. The soul would bend low to pull weeds, would carry water to thirsty roots, would gather seeds and set them back into the soil. The lesson was clear. Those who harm must also heal. Those who take must also give. Balance was restored by the touch of hands on earth. You kneel now beside a vine. Its leaves curl softly, and a small blossom trembles under your breath. Your fingers brush the soil. It is damp, cool, fragrant. As you press a seed into the ground, you feel the stillness of time itself. A reminder that all things grow slowly, and all things require care. The ancients taught that tending the garden healed the soul as much as the earth. Every drop of water poured was like sorrow released. Every weed removed was like anger pulled away. Every seed planted was like hope placed back into the heart. The garden punished gently, not by breaking, but by teaching the art of renewal. The moon rises higher, casting silver light across the garden. Shadows weave between the plants, but instead of darkness, they feel like quiet companions. The shadows teach patience, reminding that life does not rush, that beauty takes time, that healing needs silence. You hear the faint trickle of a fountain. Water falls into a round stone basin, its ripples catching starlight. Those who worked here would pause at the fountain, cupping water in their hands, drinking deeply. The water carried not only coolness, but a promise that the earth remembers kindness, and it returns what is given. Punishment in the garden was not isolation, but connection. One left not feeling smaller, but part of something greater. The plants forgave. The soil forgave. The shadows forgave. And in their forgiveness, the soul was restored. You walk slowly between rows of flowering trees. Their blossoms fall like pale feathers, resting upon your shoulders, melting into the earth at your feet. Each step feels lighter, as though the garden itself carries you. The ancients believed that when one left the garden of shadows, they carried a new rhythm inside them. Their voice became softer, their hands more gentle, their eyes more patient. The punishment, so quiet, so unassuming, transformed them into guardians of balance. You pause beneath an arch of vines. The stars are framed above like a window into infinity. The garden sighs softly around you. It breathes with you, slow and even, like the rhythm of sleep. Your heart is calm now. Your mind has slowed. The garden has given its lesson. To heal is to serve, to punish is to restore. And in the end, all shadows lead back to light. The fountain trickles. The crickets sing. The night folds around you like silk. The garden holds you, restores you, softens you, and now, let us drift onward, leaving the garden of shadows, carrying its quiet forgiveness within us as the stars above return to guide the way. The garden fades behind you now, its vines and blossoms lingering in memory like a faint perfume. Ahead, the sound of water grows stronger. It is not the gentle trickle of a fountain, nor the soft song of a river. It is deeper, faster, endless. You walk toward it slowly, and soon the horizon opens wide. Before you stretches an ocean, dark and shimmering beneath the moon. The waves move with steady rhythm, their crests glowing faintly, as if stars themselves had fallen into the sea. The ancients spoke of this place, the ocean of forgetting. It was here that punishment became release. Those who carried heavy burdens, those who clung to guilt like chains, were brought to these shores, not to be struck, not to be judged, but to let go, to step into the tide and surrender what weighed upon them. The air tastes of salt, cool and sharp against your lips. The sand is smooth beneath your feet, still warm from the memory of sun. You pause at the edge, watching the waves roll forward, and fall back again and again, as steady as breath. The ancients believed that each wave carried memory away. A cruel word, a broken promise, a wound carried too long. All could be given to the ocean. All could be released into its vast embrace. Punishment was not the holding on, but the letting go. You step slowly into the water. It curls around your ankles, cool and welcoming. The tide tugs gently, not to drag you under, but to remind you. Nothing must be clutched too tightly. Even sorrow must learn to drift. The ocean is vast, its song deep and unending. It whispers with every wave, soft syllables carried on foam. Release. Release! Release! The ancients told stories of souls who came here with hearts like stone. They carried regrets too heavy to bear. Yet, as they walked into the water, the weight began to dissolve. The ocean did not erase memory, but it softened it. It changed sharpness into smoothness, like stones tumbled by the tide until they became round, gentle to the touch. You sink deeper now. The waves rise to your knees, to your waist. The water holds you, buoyant, forgiving. The stars above shimmer on its surface as if guiding you to release each hidden burden. One by one, they fall from your chest into the tide, and the ocean receives them without judgment. Punishment here was never meant to wound. It was meant to remind the soul, life is too light to carry endless weight. The water teaches impermanence. What comes goes. What rises falls. What is carried is released. The waves rock you gently, like the rhythm of sleep. Salt clings to your skin, cooling you, purifying you. Each breath grows slower. Each thought grows softer. The ocean cradles you as though you were always meant to return. Far away, a line of torches once burned on the shore. The ancients would watch as each soul walked into the sea, their silhouettes lit against the dark. When the soul returned, stepping back onto sand, they were lighter, their eyes clear, their hearts free. The punishment was complete, not through fire or lash, but through the mercy of forgetting. You float now upon the surface, the stars above mirrored in the water below. It feels as though you drift through the sky itself, suspended between heaven and earth. The ocean breathes with you. The tide moves with you. You are carried, held, forgiven. Slowly, the tide carries you back to shore. Your feet touch the sand once more. The ocean lingers at your ankles, as if whispering a last blessing before retreating. You turn to look at the vast horizon and know that it will always be here. This endless sea of release, this ocean of forgetting. The night is quiet again. The waves roll steady, soft as a lullaby, and you, lighter than before, step gently onward into the dream. Now rest. Let the waves carry you deeper into silence, into peace, into sleep. The ocean fades behind you now, its waves still whispering release in the distance. The air begins to change, warmer, drier, touched with a faint crackle. Ahead, a glow trembles upon the horizon. It is not the harsh blaze of destruction. It is softer, gentler, like a hearth waiting in the night. You walk slowly toward it. The ground beneath your feet shifts from cool sand to firm earth. The stars above remain steady, but their light is joined now by a quiet flame. You see it flicker in the darkness, a circle of fire tended with care. The flames rise and fall like dancers, bowing and swaying to an eternal rhythm. The ancients believed fire was both danger and gift. It could burn, but it could also purify. And when the soul strayed, its punishment was not to be burned, but to sit with fire until it changed within. The fire without pain, the fire that cleansed without destroying. You step closer. The warmth reaches you, not searing, not fierce, but comforting. Like the touch of sunlight after a cold night, the flames do not roar. They whisper. They murmur softly, like voices too old to remember words. The punishment of fire was patience. The one who had stumbled was asked to sit in its circle, to gaze into the flames, to feel their warmth, and to let the fire do its work. Not of burning, but of transformation. As wood became ash, as sparks rose and faded, so too would the soul let go of what no longer served it. You sit now by the fire. Its glow paints your face in golden shadow. The air smells of cedar and smoke, rich and grounding. The flames sway before you, each flicker carrying a lesson. They rise, they bow, they vanish into air. Nothing clings. Nothing remains unchanged. The ancients said that staring into flame was like staring into the soul. Every crackle mirrored a hidden thought. Every spark revealed an untold memory. The fire taught without words, without judgment. It simply burned, and in burning, it purified. You watch as a branch glows deep red, then turns to soft gray ash. The punishment lies in witnessing, in seeing how all things must change. There is no holding fire. It slips through the fingers. It cannot be owned. It teaches surrender. The warmth reaches deeper into your skin now. It soothes tired muscles, loosens the weight of the day, and softens your breath. The fire forgives, not with coldness, but with heat. It reminds the soul that even what is lost can become part of light. Some said the fire carried prayers upward in its smoke. Every regret, every sorrow, every hidden wound, they were placed into the flame. The smoke rose, spiraling skyward, delivering them to the stars, where they dissolved into silence. The punishment was not suffering. It was released through flame. You close your eyes for a moment. The warmth wraps around you like a blanket. The crackling is steady, like the rhythm of a lullaby. The fire burns on, calm, unthreatening, a quiet companion in the night. Those who left the fire's circle did not leave scarred. They left lighter. Their eyes reflected the glow. Their voices carried calm. They walked with a steadier rhythm. Their burdens turned to smoke, their hearts glowing with embers of peace. You open your eyes again and see the sparks drift upward. Tiny stars born from wood and flame, rising only to vanish into the night sky. Each spark a reminder that nothing is wasted. Even ash returns to earth, even smoke returns to sky. Even flame returns to silence. The punishment is complete, not through harm but through warmth, not through fear but through change. The fire has spoken without words. It is taught without demand, and you, sitting in its circle, are held in its quiet wisdom. The flames grow lower now, their glow softer, their voice quieter. They lull you deeper, like a lullaby fading into silence. You rest by the fire, eyes heavy, heart calm. The stars above shimmer in approval. The night folds around you, and the fire without pain becomes a dream within a dream. Let us drift onward, from the circle of flame into deeper stillness, into softer rest, as the night carries us closer to peace. The fire dims behind you now, its glow still warming your memory like embers under ash. The air cools once more, and the night leads you onward, toward tall stone pillars rising in the dark. They stretch upward into starlight, carved with patterns too old to name. Here stands the Temple of Echoes, a place where sound returns, where voices circle back, and where the soul learns to listen. You step onto its marble floor. It is smooth, cool, whispering with every footfall. The vast hall opens around you, arches climbing high, shadows bending into endless corners. The air is heavy, yet alive, as though it waits for a single sound to awaken it. The ancients believed this temple was a place of gentle punishment. Those who had spoken carelessly, those who had scattered unkindness with their tongues, were brought here. They were asked to speak aloud, and the temple gave back every word, not twisted, not hidden, but clear, true, and unavoidable. You pause at the center of the temple. Your breath drifts out in a soft sigh. It returns to you, echoing gently from the stone, like a reminder that nothing is ever lost. Every word spoken, every sound carried, returns in time. The ancients did not see this as punishment by cruelty. They saw it as balance. The temple allowed a person to hear themselves, to understand what their voice carried into the world. Echoes became teachers, mirrors of sound. The soul was asked to listen until it understood. You whisper now into the great space. The sound lingers, stretching long, floating through the air before circling back. It is soft when it returns, like a friend repeating your thought. In this way, the temple never condemned. It reflected. It reminded. Some said that even the heart's unspoken words echoed here. Hidden feelings, secret thoughts, hopes never voiced. The stone heard them all and sent them back as a quiet hum, a resonance deep in the chest. The punishment was not silence, it was listening. It was facing the truth of one's own sound. You walk slowly through the columns. Each step calls forth a soft answer. Your presence becomes music, the temple shaping your movements into rhythm. It feels less like punishment now and more like prayer. The air itself is the choir, and you are both singer and listener. In stories of the old ones, some entered the temple with pride and arrogance. They laughed too loudly, their words sharp as blades. But as they lingered, the echo turned their laughter hollow, their sharpness dull. They learned humility not through scorn, but through their own sound returning. Softer, smaller, changed. Others entered with sorrow. They whispered apologies, and the temple gave them back gently, like comfort, like reassurance. Even grief found its echo, and in hearing it the soul discovered it was not alone. You reach the far wall now, its carvings glowing faintly in starlight streaming through a crack above. You touch the stone. It is cool, ancient, alive with memory. When you breathe against it, your breath returns as though the wall itself breathes with you. The temple teaches balance, that nothing we say vanishes. Words, like stones, ripple outward, and in time, they return. To know this is not to be condemned, but to be guided. It is a punishment only in the way a mirror is, showing truth, inviting change. You sit upon the floor, closing your eyes. Your heartbeat echoes faintly, steady as a drum. Your breath moves outward, then returns, slow, peaceful, unbroken. The temple holds you, not as prisoner, but as listener. Every sound is a lesson. Every silence is a gift. The night outside grows deeper. Yet within the temple, time feels endless. Stone remembers everything, yet judges nothing. It simply reflects. It simply returns. When the ancients left this place, their voices were softer. Their words were chosen with care. They spoke as though every sound mattered, because here they had learned that it did. The punishment had become wisdom. The echo had become prayer. You rise slowly, your footsteps carried once more across the vast hall. Each step hums in farewell, each sound a blessing. As you step outside, the night air greets you again. The temple rests behind you, but its echoes remain inside your chest. Now you drift onward, carrying the quiet wisdom of stone and sound. The stars shine gently above, and the dream moves forward, softly, endlessly, toward deeper rest. The night has grown softer now. The stars shimmer faintly, as though veiled by a silver mist. You step forward through the dream, and the air begins to change. It tastes of salt. It smells of tides. A hush fills the horizon, endless and wide. Before you lies the ocean. Its surface stretches like liquid glass, dark yet shimmering, reflecting the moon in broken threads of light. The sound of waves rises slowly, a steady breathing, a rhythm older than memory. Each swell of water lifts the heart. Each retreat of tide loosens the weight of thought. The ancients called this the ocean of return. Here the soul was brought when burdened, when heaviness clung too tightly, when mistakes pressed like stones upon the chest. The punishment was not fire, not chains, not the cutting of whips. It was immersion, to walk into the sea, to float in its arms, until all that was carried dissolved into salt and tide. You step closer. The sand beneath your feet is cool and damp. Tiny shells glimmer like fallen stars. The shore curves gently, as though guiding you toward the water's embrace. Each wave slides in, whispering across the sand, then fades back, always returning, always forgiving. Those who came here were asked to surrender, to lie upon the water's surface, to trust its strength more than their own. At first it was frightening, to release control, to let the body drift, but the sea held them, lifting each chest with its breath, rocking each soul like a cradle. Slowly the burdens broke apart like salt dissolving. The ocean carried them away. You wade now into the water. It rises around your ankles, cool and gentle, a soft pulling motion like an unseen hand. The waves curl lightly against your legs, inviting you deeper. The moon glows above, its reflection shattered by the rippling tide. Every sound is hushed, every motion slow. Ancient voices once told that the ocean remembers nothing. It takes in what is given, but does not hold it. Every sorrow, every guilt, every sharp word is dissolved into endlessness. The punishment is not in being drowned, but in being asked to let go. And once the soul learns to release, the water returns it to peace. You move farther until the waves touch your chest. Then gently you lean back. The water rises beneath you. It carries you. It rocks you. You float. The stars above seem closer now, as though the ocean has lifted you toward them. The tide whispers beneath your ears like a lullaby from the deep. Every weight that clung begins to melt. The salt holds it, softens it, breaks it apart. You feel lighter, as though your very bones remember how to rest. The water does not hurry. It teaches patience. Every ripple is a breath. Every wave is a release. In old stories, when a person emerged from the ocean of return, they were changed. Their hearts felt washed, their eyes clear, their steps softer upon the sand. They were punished only by learning that no burden could truly be held forever, that all things return to the great sea, and the sea gives back silence. You drift with the tide. The horizon bends gently around you, endless and still. The moon slides higher, and its light falls across your skin like silver threads. The water hums against you, a song without words. The punishment has become a gift. It teaches that surrender is not loss, but return. The ocean cradles you, and time falls away. There is no beginning here, no ending. Only the circle of tide, the rhythm of waves, the soft balance of holding and letting go. Every sound, every thought is absorbed. Only quiet remains. When you finally step back onto the shore, the sand embraces your feet. The tide continues its eternal motion behind you, drawing away, returning again. The ocean of return rests where it always has, ready to take the next burden, ready to cradle the next soul. You look back once and the sea glimmers with starlight. It seems endless. It seems eternal. Yet it feels gentle, like a mother's hands. The ancients were right. The sea does not punish in cruelty. It punishes by teaching. It teaches that what is too heavy can always be given back. It teaches that surrender is a kind of strength, and it whispers always that nothing is ever truly lost. Now the tide fades into silence and your steps grow light. The path continues, soft beneath your feet, leading into the next dream. Rest, for the ocean holds what you no longer need. Sleep, for the stars watch gently above. And drift onward as the waves carry you into deeper and deeper peace. The path narrows, quiet as the hush of dawn. Stone walls rise on either side, cool to the touch, veined with age and shadow. The air carries a faint warmth, the scent of beeswax and smoke. A doorway opens ahead, and from within a tender glow spills outward. A soft, trembling light, like a breath caught between worlds. You step inside. The chamber is vast, yet not empty. Every surface, every corner is filled with candles. Some tall, their wax cascading in frozen rivers. Some small, flickering like timid hearts. The room is quiet, but alive with their whispers. Each flame sways, as if bending toward you in greeting. This is the chamber of candles. The ancients believed punishment here was gentle. A soul heavy with missteps, with forgotten kindness, with careless words, was sent not to endure pain, but to tend flames. Each candle was a life. Each flame a fragile reminder of how precious light could be. The work was slow. Hands grew steady. Breath grew quiet. A candle once left alone might falter, its wick drowning in its own wax. Another, placed too close to a draft, might flicker until it vanished. And so, those within the chamber learned to care. They trimmed the wicks. They guarded the air. They cleaned away the melted rivers of wax. Each act of tending was an act of penance. Each flame kept alive was a lesson in love. You walked deeper among the rows. The flames sway with your passing, casting long shadows on the stone. The walls themselves seem alive, dancing with light and dark. Your steps are hushed, your breath slower, as though the chamber itself teaches reverence. A soul once burdened with anger might be placed here to sit before a single candle. At first, the anger would boil, the stillness unbearable. But slowly the flame would speak. Its quiet persistence, its steady patience would soften even the hardest heart. The lesson was never shouted. It was whispered. The candle taught, to keep me alive, you must guard me. And in guarding me, you learn to guard life itself. You pause before a cluster of small flames. They are no larger than the flame of a match, yet they shine bravely in the darkness. Wax pools at their base, gathering like tears. How fragile they are. How easily a careless breath might take them. Yet how steady they remain, as though their very fragility is what makes them endure. Those who entered this chamber often wept, not from pain but from recognition. They saw themselves in the trembling flames. They saw their choices mirrored in the wax that spilled, in the soot that marked the stone. And they understood at last that light is never promised. It must be tended, cherished, guarded with gentle hands. The punishment was not in suffering. It was in patience. Hours passed like rivers. Days folded into silence. To watch a candle, to tend it without distraction, was to learn the weight of care. And when finally the soul was released, it carried a new tenderness, a new reverence for the small flames of others. You reach the center of the chamber. Here a great candle stands, taller than a person, its wax thick as stone. The flame at its crown is calm yet bright, casting warmth that fills the room. This candle, the elders said, was the flame of truth. It could not be extinguished. It had burned for longer than memory, longer than the voices of any who had entered. To sit before it was to feel one's heart laid bare. Every shadow within rose to meet the light, and in that glow a soul learned humility. The air is still. The only sound is the faint crackle of wicks. It is like sitting in the heart of time itself, where nothing rushes, nothing presses, nothing demands. The candles remind you that life is made of small moments, that even the weakest light can hold back the darkness. That punishment can be tenderness, a chance to learn by caring. You sit upon the stone floor. The flickering glow folds around you. Shadows dance softly, never harsh, always moving with grace. The candles breathe with you, each flame a heartbeat, each shimmer a thought dissolving into quiet. The ancients taught that when a soul left the chamber, its hands smelled faintly of wax and smoke. It carried with it the memory of light. How fragile it was, how precious. The punishment lingered not as pain, but as reverence. Every candle tended became a lesson etched in the heart, and in the outside world that soul became a keeper of light for others. The chamber fades now into a haze of golden glow. The flames blur into stars. The stars blur into dreams, and you too are carried by the warmth. No burden follows you here. Only softness, only quiet, only the lesson of light. Rest now as though a candle burns beside you, steady and safe. Let the shadows fall back. Let the flame guide you deeper, and drift onward into the silence beyond. The dream grows darker now, not frightening, only dim and hushed. The air cools, and the sound of your steps slows, as though each one is cushioned by velvet night. The stars above are faint, half hidden by drifting clouds, and the moonlight slips through in pale ribbons, falling across stone and soil like silver threads. Ahead lies a narrow way. It is called the Path of Shadows. Long ago, when a soul grew restless, forgetting kindness, forgetting patience, they were guided here. This was their punishment, to walk slowly in the half-light, to learn how precious brightness is, to remember that even dimness carries its own wisdom. You step forward, and the path accepts you. It is quiet here. The air holds a soft weight, like a cloak laid gently across the shoulders. Shadows stretch across the ground, leaning from crooked trees, from small stones, from forgotten shrines at the wayside. They do not threaten. They only wait. The ancients believed shadows were not enemies. They were teachers. To walk with them was to face what was hidden, not with fear, but with stillness. Every shape, every outline cast by the dim light spoke of something deeper. a reminder that darkness is never empty. It is full of lessons, full of echoes, full of the quiet truth that light always follows. You notice how slow your steps have become. The path demands it. Every stone must be felt beneath the feet, every turn taken with care. It is as if the shadows themselves whisper, "Do not rush, see what lies beside you." And so you move gently, your eyes adjusting, your heart softening. Those who once walked here learned patience. They learned that punishment need not break, but simply slow. The dimness stretched their senses, teaching them to listen more deeply, to notice the rustle of a leaf, the flutter of wings in the distance, the faint scent of earth warmed by memory. In this way, the shadows revealed what had always been unseen. You pass a grove where tall stones rise like guardians. Their shadows lean across the path, long and sharp, like fingers reaching. You pause, and for a moment you see not only stone but the memory of those who set them here. Hands long gone, hearts long silent, yet their presence remains. The shadow shows that nothing truly disappears. It lingers, soft and quiet, carved into the world's memory. Farther on, the path curves into a hollow. Here the shadows deepen. It feels as though you walk inside a dream within a dream. The ground is soft with moss. The air hums with a stillness so profound it feels alive. In this place, the ancients said, a soul would often meet its own reflection, not in glass or water, but in the shadows themselves. Every forgotten act, every neglected kindness would return, shaped in dim outlines, asking not for shame, but for recognition. The punishment here was gentle but unyielding. There was no escape from the shadow. It walked with you. It lengthened beside you. It moved as you moved, until finally you understood. You could not cast away what was yours, but you could walk with it peacefully. The shadow was a companion, not a chain. You breathe slowly and the path breathes with you. The dim light no longer feels heavy. It feels calm, like a lull between two songs. The trees bend slightly, their leaves whispering in the unseen breeze. The shadows shift, always changing yet always present. They teach that nothing is fixed, that all darkness moves toward light in time. At last, the dimness begins to soften. The clouds above thin, and a pale wash of moonlight spills more freely across the path. The shadows grow shorter, gentler, their edges blurring. The ancients said that when a soul reached this part of the way, they had earned light again, not because they had conquered shadow, but because they had learned to walk with it, to understand its quiet purpose. You pause, looking back once more. The path behind is cloaked in dimness, but it no longer feels lonely. It feels whole. It feels necessary. Every shadow has given its lesson. Every step has carried weight. Now the heart feels lighter, like a flame kindled after long silence. The path of shadows fades now, its lessons carried gently with you. The night sky clears, stars blinking back into brilliance. The air feels open again, and the ground beneath your feet steadier. Rest in this place, where darkness has softened you, and light begins to return. Close your eyes as though walking further, but now without burden. The path continues, calm and waiting. Let us drift onward, guided by both shadow and flame, into the next quiet dream. The night is soft. The stars linger like quiet pearls scattered across velvet skies. The air itself seems to move with gentleness, as though the world is breathing with you. You drift slowly, entering a place where silence is not empty but alive. A temple rises before you, not carved from stone, not built from wood, but woven from stillness itself, the temple of breath. Its walls are translucent like mist. Its doors are not doors at all, but a veil of air that parts as you step through. Inside, the space is endless, yet calming. It feels as though the entire sky has been folded inward. Resting here, in this chamber of breath, candles do not burn here. Incense does not rise. Instead, the rhythm of breath itself fills the air. The inhale, the pause, the exhale, each cycle as soft as the tide, as steady as the turning of the moon. In the time of ancient seekers, the temple was not only a place of prayer, it was a school, a sanctuary, a mirror for the soul. Those who entered came to learn not words, not chants, not scrolls of wisdom, but the simple, unbroken discipline of breathing. The elders taught that life was held not in wealth or power, but in the hidden ocean of air. Every breath was a gift. Every breath, a thread tying the body to the unseen spirit. To waste a breath was to waste the moment. To lose awareness of breath was to wander lost in shadow. And so, those who had strayed, those who carried burdens of anger or sorrow, were not punished with chains or pain. Instead, they were brought here, to this temple of air. Their discipline was patience, their trial was stillness. To sit, to breathe, to feel each rise and fall of their chest, until even their restless thoughts grew quiet. You wander deeper into the temple. The floor feels like smooth stone kissed by countless feet. Columns rise like tall trees, but they are not heavy. They are made of air itself, shaped only by intention, shimmering softly in the dimness. Along the walls sit quiet figures. Their robes are simple, their faces calm. They are not asleep, yet not awake in the way of the busy world. They are watching their own breath, as one might watch the ocean tide. Inhale. A slow expansion, like the unfolding of dawn. Pause. The stillness between worlds. Exhale. A gentle release, as if letting go of an old weight. You listen. The hall is filled with the sound of many breathing together. Not loud, not forced. A soft chorus, like wind moving through reeds by a river. The elders spoke of, a breath is a circle. To inhale was to receive the universe. To exhale was to give yourself back to it. To pause was to remember that between every gift and every surrender, there is balance. Those who struggled were guided with patience. If one's mind wandered, they were taught to return, not with scolding, but with kindness. The lesson was simple. Do not fight the breath. Follow it. Honor it. Let it guide you, like a lantern in darkness. A story is told here, whispered only at night. Long ago, a king came to the temple. He carried the weight of wars, the burden of endless decisions, and the sorrow of many losses. His crown was heavy. His heart was restless. He came seeking answers. The elders offered him no counsel, no prophecy. Instead, they gave him a single seat and asked him to breathe. The king grew angry. "Is this all? Breathing?" he demanded. "Do you not see my sorrow, my questions, my battles?" But the elders said nothing, only pointed to their own chests rising and falling with the tide of air. The king sat. At first, he resisted. His mind was loud. Memories swirled. His duties screamed within him. But breath does not demand. It only offers. And so, little by little, he softened. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. The hours passed like water slipping through fingers. The weight on his shoulders eased. His thoughts no longer tangled him. By dawn, the crown upon his head felt lighter, not because it had changed, but because he had. When he left the temple, he bowed deeply, not to the elders, but to the breath itself. The temple remains unchanged. Its lessons still flow like rivers through time. Here, punishment was never harsh. It was gentle discipline. To sit in silence, to know, patience, to understand that one does not control the breath. It controls itself. Each breath is both, beginning and ending, a quiet birth, a quiet death, the body, a guest, the air, the eternal host. You find yourself seated now, as if the temple itself invites you to join. You place your hands loosely upon your lap. You close your eyes, and you listen. The first breath is deep, filling your chest like the sea filling a shore. The second is lighter, like wind brushing across leaves. The third is softer still, barely a whisper of movement. Inhale. Exhale. The rhythm of the world. The rhythm of you. The shadows in the hall do not feel cold. They sway like companions, moving gently as if to the rhythm of the breath itself. The air smells of nothing, yet feels pure, like mountain wind or morning rain. You drift, not away, but deeper inward, deeper into the center, where all storms are quiet. The figures around you remain still. Their presence is steady, a reminder that you are not alone. All beings breathe. All beings share this invisible thread. The bird in the sky, the fish beneath waves, the trees upon the hill, they breathe with you. You are part of that great circle. The elders once said, "When your breath is fast, your spirit is unsettled. When your breath is calm, your spirit is clear. When your breath ceases, you return to the great silence. In this temple, nothing more needs to be taught. Breath is enough. Breath is all." The night grows deeper now. The stars outside lean closer, watching through unseen windows of air. The temple seems to breathe with you, its walls expanding and contracting like lungs of stone and mist. Every sound has softened, even thought itself grows faint. You are safe here. You are steady here. The world beyond waits, but it does not press against you. You are simply held in the embrace of breath. And so, the chapter closes, not with an ending, but with a rhythm, a circle that never breaks. The temple of breath remains, always wherever stillness can be found. Inhale, like a tide returning. Exhale, like a tide receding, soft, endless, eternal. Let us drift onward. Now rest as the stars return, and may the gentle breath carry you into sleep. The night opens softly, like a curtain of velvet drawn back to reveal a hidden world. Above, the stars shimmer faintly, scattered as though the heavens themselves have exhaled a handful of quiet light. The air is cool, fragrant with the dampness of moss and earth, and somewhere in the distance an owl calls, its voice fading into silence. You find yourself at the edge of a forest. Its trees rise tall and endless, their trunks silver in moonlight, their leaves whispering like ancient voices. The forest does not feel dark, only deep. Its shadows are gentle, welcoming. The air carries the hush of ages, as though countless stories have been spoken here, each one carried onward, each one returning in echo. This is the Forest of Echoes. In times long past, seekers and wanderers came to this place not for comfort, but for understanding. It was said that the forest held a mirror, not of glass, but of sound. Every word spoken here, every cry, every whisper, would return. Not at once, but again and again, like ripples upon still water. The elders believed this was no trick of air. It was a teaching to remind each soul that nothing truly disappears. Every act, every word, every thought circles back. As shadows return with the light, as the tide returns to shore, so too do our voices return to us. You step into the forest. The ground is soft, covered in fallen leaves that sigh beneath your weight. The trees stand in solemn rows, their bark rough with age, their crowns brushing against the sky. The silence here is not empty. It hums with hidden life. As you move, you hear your own footsteps carried outward, then faintly returned. Not loud, not frightening, only a gentle reminder. The forest is listening. The forest is speaking back. In ages past, those who had wounded others with their words were brought here. Their punishment was not pain, but patience. They would sit among the trees and speak, sometimes in anger, sometimes in sorrow. Whatever they gave the forest, it returned. Their harshness came back to them. Their sorrow circled round until it softened into silence. There is a tale often told of a young warrior who came unwillingly into the forest. He was fierce, quick to anger, and his words often cut deeper than his sword. The elders led him to the heart of the woods and left him there, telling him only this: speak and listen. At first, he shouted. His voice was sharp, filled with fury, striking the trees like arrows, but the forest did not flinch. It only answered, sending his anger back to him, softer each time, until the shouts sounded more like cries. Then he cursed. But his curses, too, returned. At first they echoed strong, but with each return, they faded, losing their edge, until they sounded almost hollow. At last, exhausted, the warrior whispered. He whispered his fears, his grief, his hidden longing for peace, and the forest carried those whispers back to him, not to wound him, but to show him that even his tender words lived on. By dawn, the warrior was quiet. He no longer wished to throw his voice outward, to fight with sound. He had learned that what he gave the world, he also gave himself. When he left the forest, He spoke more slowly, more carefully, for he knew the trees still listened. He knew the echoes would always return. Deeper into the forest you go. The moonlight scatters through branches, falling in silver pools upon the ground. You pause and listen. Even your breath feels like part of the forest now, moving in and out, like wind passing through leaves. The air carries whispers of countless voices, not loud, not clear, but layered, like the memory of sound. The forest is filled with echoes of those who walked here before. Every story, every sigh, still lingers in its bark and branches. You realize nothing is ever truly lost. Even the faintest word leaves a mark, carried forward by the air, remembered by the earth. The lesson is simple, yet endless. All we give, we receive. All we release, returns. In some cultures, it was said that the forest itself was once a single great being, a spirit of sound, who wished to teach humankind. It stretched itself tall and wide, rooted its feet into the earth, and grew countless ears in the form of leaves, so that it might hear all things. And in kindness, it gave its voice back, repeating what it heard, so that no soul would forget their own song. Others believed the forest was a veil between worlds. When one spoke here, the ancestors heard, and when the echo returned, it was the ancestors answering back, a dialogue without time, without distance, a bridge of voices, unbroken by death. You walk farther, and the air grows thick with memory. You hear your own breath drift outward and then return, faint and hushed. It does not feel like loneliness. It feels like company, the world answering you, the silence itself reminding you that you are not unseen, not unheard. The trees bow gently in the wind. Their shadows stretch across the ground like threads, and in those threads, your steps weave softly, one after another, until the forest feels like part of your body, and your body part of the forest. A stream winds through the heart of the forest. Its waters are dark, yet clear. Every stone beneath it glows faintly in moonlight. You kneel beside it. When you speak, your voice touches the surface and ripples outward. The water carries the sound, and the forest returns it, a chorus of waves and whispers. The stream itself seems to echo, each drop falling against stone, each trickle weaving its own reply. The forest, the water, the air, they are all one great ear, one great voice, one great mirror. The night deepens. The stars drift like watchful lanterns above the canopy. The echoes soften, growing less like sound and more like memory. The forest does not fade. It lulls, as if humming a lullaby made only for those who listen. You feel your body lighten.
Your breath slow, your thoughts ease. The forest holds you.
Not with branches, but with sound itself, with its patient cycle of return. There is no punishment here now, only peace. Only the understanding that nothing given is wasted, nothing said is gone. Every kindness, every word of love, circles back in time. Every harshness, too, returns, softened by the air until one learns to choose. Gentleness. The forest of echoes stands eternal. It does not judge. It only reflects. It teaches by listening. It reminds by returning. And through its endless patience, it shows that life is not silence, but song, woven back and forth, carried across time, always finding its way home. The moon sinks lower. The shadows grow longer. Your steps grow slower, softer, until you no longer wish to walk. You wish only to rest, and the forest agrees. Its echoes quiet, its whispers dim, until there is only the hush of night, the weightless comfort of stillness. Now rest. As the stars return, let the echoes fade into dreams and drift. As the forest holds you in silence, the night stretches wide and still. Above, the stars rest like scattered embers, softly glowing in the endless dark. The moon leans low, its pale light spilling gently across stone and soil. And ahead, where the earth seems to fold into quiet shadow, a bridge appears. It is not grand, not towering. It is simple, carved of worn stone, arched lightly over a stream that moves in silence. No rushing sound of water, no splashing waves. The stream glides beneath as though breathing in dreams, barely heard, barely seen. This is the bridge of silence. In the old ways, those who had spoken harshly, those who had filled their lives with noise and careless words, were led here. Their punishment was not cruel. It was gentle, a walk across the bridge where sound did not belong. They entered silence, and silence entered them. You stand before it now. The air feels different here, thicker, softer. Even the rustle of leaves at the edge of the forest seems hushed, as though bowing to the quiet. Your breath comes slow, and even that seems too loud. The world listens. And so you too listen. Step by step, you move onto the bridge. Stone beneath your feet holds the memory of countless souls, those who walked here in their own time of learning. Every footfall is cushioned, as though the bridge itself asks you to move lightly. The silence is not empty. It is alive. It hums in the bones, in the air, in the waiting night. Those who first built this path believed silence was not absence, but presence. Not a void, but a vessel. Crossing the bridge was a discipline, a reminder that sound carries weight, and that words, once loosed, cannot return. Here, in this silence, each thought becomes clear, each heartbeat becomes sacred. Halfway across, you pause. The stream below reflects the sky, a ribbon of stars caught in moving glass. Yet even its flow is soundless. It moves but does not disturb. It teaches that one may live, one may change, without needing to shout. The ancients would say, every word is a stone cast in water. Every echo ripples outward. And so, in this place, a soul was asked to hold their stones, to weigh them, to choose if they were worth casting. The punishment was to feel the weight of silence until the heart remembered restraint. A faint breeze brushes your face. It carries nothing. No leaf, no whisper, only stillness that cools the skin and soothes the mind. You realize that silence itself can be a comfort, like a cloak drawn over the shoulders, soft and steady. At the far edge of the bridge stand two lanterns. They are unlit, their glass clear, their metal frames weathered with age. The teaching said that when a soul crossed in true silence, the lanterns would glow on their own, not with flame, but with the light of understanding. For silence itself is luminous when the heart learns its depth. You walk slowly, your steps gentle, your thoughts softer still. The bridge shortens behind you, and the lanterns draw near. And though no match is struck, no spark is touched, a glow stirs faintly in the glass. It is not fire, but something gentler, as though the stillness itself wishes to shine. The ancients believed this moment was release. The punishment ended not when the silence weighed heavy, but when it blossomed into peace. Then the soul knew. Not every question needs a voice. Not every feeling needs to be thrown into the air. Sometimes silence is the truest offering. You step from the bridge now. The lanterns flicker softly behind, like twin stars guiding others who will come. The air feels different, lighter, quieter still, yet not empty. It carries the fullness of silence, a presence you can rest within. The path stretches onward, but you linger a moment longer, looking back at the stone arch, its curve graceful against the night sky. You sense the countless souls who have crossed it before, each one carrying noise into silence, each one leaving quieter, gentler, more whole. The bridge of silence fades now into the dream, its lessons folded into your heart. Your breath is soft, your body is calm. The stars shimmer gently above, and the moon leans closer, its light like a hand resting upon the earth. Now rest, as silence settles deeper, as stillness fills the spaces once crowded with sound. The journey continues, but for now, drift gently. Let the silence cradle you. Let the night carry you forward. And let us drift onward into the next quiet place of dream. The night bends into stillness once more. The stars hang like quiet lanterns above the world, and the moon draws a silver line along the ridges of distant peaks. There, in the far-off dark, a mountain rises. It is tall, yet calm. Its slopes are not harsh, but steady, like the breath of the earth itself. This is the mountain of patience. In the old traditions, those who hurried too quickly, those who grasped without waiting, were sent here. Their punishment was not fire or chains, but the still weight of time. They climbed, they waited, they learned to rest inside the slow rhythm of the mountain. You step closer now. The air thins as you approach. It is cool, filled with a faint scent of stone and pine. Each breath feels deliberate, drawn in slowly, released even slower. The path curls upward, worn by countless feet, yet still humble, still simple. With each step, the world below falls away. Fields, rivers, and valleys blur into mist. What remains is the climb, the steady sound of foot upon stone, the quiet hum of breath, the silence of the night sky looking down. There is no rush. The mountain allows only slowness. The lesson is hidden in the waiting. Long ago, those who stood before this climb would feel impatience burn within them. They would want to run, to leap ahead, to conquer the path. But the mountain does not answer to haste. Its slopes demand surrender. Its winds whisper, "Wait, be still, let time carry you." You rest halfway upon a ledge. The stone is cold beneath, but it steadies you. From here, the horizon stretches wide. Clouds drift below like rivers of pale smoke. The stars above appear nearer, as though the mountain itself is a stairway to the heavens. Patience begins to feel like a kind of seeing, a widening of vision. Those who endured this place discovered something gentle. That waiting was not punishment at all, but a soft unfolding. Like a flower that opens only at dawn, like fruit that ripens only in its season. The mountain gave no answers quickly, but in time, it gave everything. You rise again, step steady, heart slower now. The summit nears. The air is almost soundless, as though the sky itself listens. Even your thoughts grow quieter, each one stretched thin, then released like mist into the night. At last, you reach the peak. It is not sharp, not jagged. It is broad and still, a great table of stone open beneath the stars. Here the ancients would sit. They would wait through the turning of hours, through dawn and dusk, until the world itself taught them patience. No voice but the wind. No clock but the rising of the sun. You sit upon the stone now. The cold has softened, and the silence feels alive. The mountain speaks not in words, but in the long, slow breath of the earth. You sense the turning of seasons, the growth of trees, the slow carving of valleys by rivers unseen. All things move, but they move in their time. This was the final gift of the mountain of patience, that what feels like waiting is often becoming, that stillness is not emptiness, but preparation, and that in silence and time, a soul ripens like fruit in the sun. The stars shimmer above, their light unhurried, their journey endless. The mountain cradles you in its quiet strength. And now, with the lesson resting gently in your heart, you descend in spirit. The climb is complete. The waiting has flowered into peace. Rest here upon the mountain's breath as the night holds you. Your body loosens, your heart slows, your thoughts soften. Let the patience of the mountain become your own. Let time carry you, safe and steady. And let us drift onward into the next dream. Night has grown deeper now. The stars spread wide above, each one a silent witness to the turning of time. The earth feels steady, its breath slow, its heart ancient. You follow a path that winds through tall grass, the sound of crickets weaving into the stillness. Ahead, a clearing waits. In the center of this clearing rests the circle of stones, great shapes of earth and memory set upright by hands long gone. They rise like guardians, watching without eyes, listening without ears. Some lean slightly, as if weary from centuries, while others stand sharp and strong, their surfaces carved by wind and rain. Together they form a ring, a place of silence, a place of return. The ancients told that those who were restless of spirit were brought here. Their punishment was not pain, but presence. They were asked to sit among the stones day and night until the echo of eternity seeped into them. The circle taught that every word, every act, every breath would one day return, just as a shadow returns with the sun. You step into the circle. The grass beneath is soft, touched with dew. The air is cooler here, as though the stones draw stillness around them like a cloak. You sit. The stone nearest to you towers above, its face pale under moonlight. The night presses close, but not heavy. Gentle, like the weight of a hand resting in comfort. At first, the silence feels deep. It holds you, yet it also reminds you of your own thoughts. They echo in the mind, as sound echoes among cliffs. The ancients believed this was the first lesson of the stones, that the voices within us never vanish. They linger, returning again and again until we learn to listen. Time drifts here. Minutes stretch like long shadows. The stars shift slowly, their light brushing against the stones. Somewhere an owl calls, its cry carrying far, then fading into the night. You breathe in. You breathe out. The circle listens. Those who endured the circle of stones would begin to feel a strange calm. At first, it was heavy. The weight of ages, the burden of waiting. But then, slowly, it became light, as if the stones themselves took the burdens from the heart, holding them with their great patience. Legends say the stones were not only rock, they were keepers of memory. They remembered the footsteps of those who came before, the prayers whispered into their cracks, the tears shed upon their roots. To sit among them was to sit among the voices of the past. And yet, in that chorus of echoes, a soul found stillness. The echoes did not vanish, but they softened. They blended with wind and night, becoming a song without beginning or end. You feel it now. The slow hum of the earth beneath, the gentle weight of stone around you. It is not a prison. It is a cradle. The circle does not close you in. It gathers you, protects you, teaches you that all things return, but they return in peace. You lean back slightly, letting the stone's shadow cover you. The grass cools your skin, and the stars look down without haste. The air carries no urgency, only the rhythm of breath, the softness of time passing. Here, patience is not learned through struggle. It is absorbed, like dew absorbed by the roots of trees. The ancients would leave this place changed. They spoke more slowly, listened more deeply, and moved with gentler steps. For once a soul had heard its own echo return from the stones, it knew the truth, that nothing is forgotten and nothing need be rushed. Life circles back always, like a wheel turning, like a star rising, like the endless song of stone. You close your eyes now. The stones remain, their presence steady, their silence kind. The circle hums softly, almost like breath. You feel safe within it, held by the patience of the earth, carried by the weight of time. Let your thoughts fall like leaves. Let them settle quietly among the roots of the stones. Here you are eternal. Here you are still. And as the stars continue their slow dance above, you drift softer and softer into the dream of the circle. Rest now. The stones will keep watch. The night will hold you, and the echoes of your breath will return only as calm. Let us drift onward into what waits beyond. The night stretches like a great, soft veil. The moon drifts behind passing clouds, and the air grows cool, gentle as silk upon the skin. You walk a narrow path, lined with stone lanterns that no longer burn. Their shapes are quiet, their purpose forgotten, yet they still guide you forward. Beyond the path, a great gate rises. Its wood is aged and dark, but it leans not with time. It waits, still strong, opening into a place that whispers of mystery. This is the Garden of Shadows. The ancients said that those who entered here did so not as punishment of pain, but of patience. To dwell in shadow was to learn the hidden ways of light. One could not fear the dark, for fear only deepened it. Instead, the garden taught stillness, acceptance, and the soft wisdom of the unseen. You step within. The air shifts, and the world grows hushed. The moonlight does not vanish, but it softens, spreading thin across the leaves. Trees rise like pillars around you, their branches woven together overhead. Between their trunks, shadows bloom like flowers, gathering in folds and corners, resting upon the earth. The path is narrow and winding, Your steps are slow, each one cushioned by moss and fallen petals. Here, the ground is neither cold nor warm, but balanced, like the breath between inhale and exhale. The garden invites you deeper, into its folds of shadow. In this place, disciples of old were asked to walk. They were told to move in silence, to let their eyes adjust to dim light and soft darkness. They learned patience here, to pause when the path was unclear, to wait until sight returned, to trust that the way would reveal itself when the time was right. It was said that many entered restless, but none left unchanged. You notice how the shadows shift. They do not cling, nor do they threaten. They breathe. They move as the wind moves the branches. One moment the path is clear, the next it softens into dimness. This rhythm feels like a heartbeat, slow and eternal. The garden reminds you that even the unseen is alive, and even darkness carries its own light. Legends tell of those who sat in this garden for long hours, their eyes closed, their hearts open. They listened not to sound, but to silence. They came to know that shadows were not empty spaces, but vessels, holding rest, holding dreams, holding the promise of light yet to return. You pause beneath an arching tree. Its roots rise above the earth, like the ribs of a great animal at rest. The leaves above shimmer faintly, as the moon returns for a moment, casting silver upon the bark. Then it hides again, and the tree folds back into shadow. It feels as though the garden breathes with you. The ancients said the garden of shadows was a mirror. It showed not what was bright, but what was hidden. The fears, the doubts, the restless corners of the mind, all became visible here. Not in sharp lines, but in soft shapes, reminders that nothing within us is as solid as it seems. Shadows move, shadows pass, and so too do the thoughts that wander restlessly inside. You walk onward, your pace unhurried. The silence here is gentle. Not heavy, it allows space for breath to lengthen, for heart to quiet. Every step seems to draw you deeper, into a stillness you had forgotten was possible. In the center of the garden, there is a pool. Its waters are dark, yet they gleam faintly with starlight above. The surface is still, so still that it reflects not only the sky but the branches leaning over it, and the shadows that rest nearby. Those who entered here were told to gaze into the pool. They were told to see both shadow and star, darkness and light, and to know that both lived side by side, without conflict. You kneel beside the water. The reflection of your face shimmers, sometimes clear, sometimes hidden by drifting shadow. The pool teaches without words. It reminds you that you are both the star and the night, both the seen and the unseen, both the voice and the echo. You breathe deeply, and the water seems to breathe with you. Its ripples small, its calm endless. Here, many would find peace. They learned that shadow was not punishment, but teacher. It was the pause between heartbeats, the silence between notes of a song. Without it, light could not be known. Just as dawn is sweetest after the longest night, you sit for a while longer. The garden is quiet, but not empty. Every tree seems to whisper. Every shadow seems to cradle. The darkness is not void, but presence. It holds you, as gently as sleep. The moon drifts again, laying silver upon the stones, then pulling it back. The garden does not change, yet it teaches that all things move in cycles. Light fades, light returns, and in between, the shadows wait patiently, faithful and calm. You rise, but the stillness remains with you. The garden lingers in your breath, in your heartbeat, in the quiet rhythm of your steps. It has shown you that darkness is not to be feared. It is a resting place, a soft cradle for the weary soul. Shadows do not chase light away. They prepare the way for it to come again. As you step back toward the gate, the night air feels lighter, soothing as a gentle hand. The path beyond stretches onward, but the calm of the garden walks with you. The lanterns no longer burn, but they are not needed. The glow within you is enough to guide your steps. Rest now. The Garden of Shadows has done its work. It has shown you the beauty of stillness, the kindness of silence, the patience of the unseen. Let your breath be long, your heart be soft, your body light as drifting leaves. The stars will return above you. The moon will rise again. But for now, you may close your eyes. You may rest in the garden, safe in the fold of its shadows. Let us drift onward into gentler dreams, carried by silence, held by night. The night opens once more, like a curtain of velvet sky, and the listener drifts into a dream carried by whispers of water. A river flows in the darkness, its surface shining with moonlight. Slow ripples shimmer, each one holding a memory, each one carrying a story. This is the river of time. It is not a river of rushing currents or roaring waves. It moves with patience, like breath, like heartbeat. Along its banks, reeds sway gently in the midnight breeze, their tips bending as though bowing to the endless passage. The air is soft and still, holding the faint scent of earth and water, a fragrance as ancient as the first dawn. Here, souls once came to reflect on the weight of their lives. Ancient teachings told of the river not as punishment, but as reminder. To stand at its edge was to feel the quiet truth. That time itself was the great teacher, the gentle sculptor of all things. In these traditions, a spirit was said to walk to the river when it had strayed too far from harmony. The river offered no chains, no fire, no harsh decree. Instead, it invited the soul to sit, to listen, to watch the water flow. Hours passed like heartbeats, days passed like sighs, and slowly the soul began to see. Every ripple upon the surface was an action once taken. Every glimmer of light was a kindness remembered. Every shadow carried across the current was a moment of pain or neglect, softened now by the embrace of time. The river did not accuse. It did not judge. It only revealed what had already been. To gaze upon its waters was to understand. Nothing was lost. No word, no breath, no thought vanished. All flowed onward, weaving together into the eternal current. A gentle mist would rise from the surface at twilight. Within it, souls saw shapes, sometimes birds, sometimes flowers, sometimes the faces of those once loved. The mist drifted slowly, dissolving back into the flow, teaching that everything returned. Everything became part of the whole. For some, this was the punishment, to face not flames but memory, to see with clarity how every drop of their life had joined the river. There was no hiding, no rushing away. Only patience, only reflection. Yet it was peaceful too. The punishment was not to suffer, but to stay, to sit until the heart softened, until understanding dawned like the sun beyond the horizon. The river carried all burdens away, but only when the soul was ready to release them. There were stories of those who sat at the river's edge for what felt like lifetimes. Shadows passed overhead, flocks of birds returning to their nests, stars wheeling across the heavens, seasons folding one into the other. Leaves fell, snow came, blossoms returned. Still the river moved on, never ceasing, never hurried. The soul that lingered there began to change. At first restless, searching, seeking escape, it soon found itself drawn into the rhythm. Breathing became slower, deeper. Thoughts became softer, like whispers instead of shouts. Over time, the river and the soul seemed to breathe together. This was the true teaching, that healing comes not in sudden flashes, but in the slow embrace of time. Imagine yourself there now. The night is quiet, the stars reflected in the water like lanterns floating in the sky's mirror. The reeds sway gently, their shadows weaving patterns on the earth. You sit at the river's edge, the cool soil beneath you, the soft air brushing your face. You look into the water. For a moment, you see your reflection, shimmering and wavering in the flow. But soon the river shows more. Moments from long ago rise to the surface. Smiles, words, glances, even the smallest gestures. They float gently, not to accuse you, not to trouble you, but simply to be seen. You realize that the river has held them all along. Every step you have taken, every breath you have breathed, is part of this endless stream. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was forgotten. The ancients believed that when the soul was ready, it would step into the water. The river was cool, not cold. It embraced like silk, like air, like the softest cloth. With each step, burdens melted away. Regret dissolved into ripples. Fear dissolved into mist. The current carried heaviness downstream until it became part of the sea, vast and forgiving. As the soul floated, time itself seemed to pause. In that stillness there was no yesterday, no tomorrow. Only the gentle now, the present moment, held like a pearl in the palm of eternity. The punishment became gift. What was first seen as weight was revealed as wisdom. What was once shadow became light. Stories tell of the moment the soul was lifted by the river's current. Not swept away, but carried gently, like a child in the arms of a parent. The water glowed faintly, touched by moonlight and stars, as though the heavens themselves were guiding the journey. The soul drifted onward, feeling lighter, softer, freer than before. The reeds whispered farewells. The mist parted, and the banks faded into the distance. Ahead lay new lands, new skies, new beginnings. The river did not end. It flowed always onward into oceans unseen, into dreams untold. To enter it was to return to the great whole, the vast sea of being that had no edges, no walls. And so the river of time was not feared. It was respected. It was awaited. It was the place where every spirit found its reflection, its release, its return. Even now, as you drift, you may feel its echo. The steady rhythm of your breath rising and falling is like the current. The soft pulse of your heart is like the ripples. Time flows within you, and you flow within time. There is no separation. Let yourself rest, as though you too are sitting at the river's edge. Let each thought be a ripple upon the water. Let each breath be a step into the stream. Slowly, gently, peacefully, you are carried. The night deepens. The stars brighten. The river glows with silver light, carrying all that has been, all that will be, into the endless ocean of return. You do not need to rush. You do not need to hold on. The river holds everything for you. Now close your eyes within the dream. Hear the water soft and eternal. Feel the weight dissolve, carried away. The river flows, and you flow with it. Let us drift onward, carried by time's gentle tide. Now rest, as the stars return, and the river sings you to sleep. The night continues like a slow, unbroken song. After the long river of time, the dream drifts inward, through stone arches and narrow passages, where silence is held with reverence. Here stands the cloister of bells, a sanctuary of stone and shadow, where sound and stillness weave together like threads of the same cloth. At first glance, it is a quiet place. Tall walls enclose a courtyard, where vines trail along the stone and moonlight pools softly in corners untouched by torchlight. In the center, a single tower rises, its surface kissed by age, its shape pointing toward the sky. And from within, the bells rest, waiting, their bronze bodies glimmering faintly in the pale glow of stars. They are not bells of alarm. They are not bells of demand. They are bells of rhythm, of remembrance, of gentle return. In ancient times, souls came here not to fear their ringing, but to dwell within their echoes. When a spirit had wandered too far from balance, its quiet punishment was to remain in the cloister. Days would pass in simple silence. Hours would be marked not by clocks or calendars, but by the voices of the bells. Each bell had its own tone, some deep as if drawn from the very roots of the earth, some light like the call of a bird at dawn, others soft, like a whisper barely heard across a field at twilight. Together they created a chorus that rose and fell with the passing hours. For the soul in reflection, these tones became companions. They marked the flow of time, yet they also carried something beyond time, a reminder that life itself was a rhythm, that every breath had a place, every silence its meaning. Imagine yourself within the cloister now. You sit upon a stone bench beneath the archways where cool air drifts between pillars. The scent of moss lingers in the stillness, mixed with the faint fragrance of old incense. The night is hushed, yet not empty. Somewhere above, a bell stirs, it rings. Just once. The sound travels across the courtyard like a ripple across water. It lingers in the air long after the strike has ended. You feel it in your chest, in your breath, in the bones of your being. And when it fades, it does not leave silence alone. It leaves a space, a pause, an opening in which thought softens, and the heart listens. This was the lesson of the cloister, to hear not only the sound, but the silence that follows. Souls who came to dwell here found themselves walking slowly, their footsteps echoing softly against the stone. Each step was measured, not hurried, as though the very walls asked for patience. When a bell would ring, the soul would stop, bowing inwardly, letting the tone pass through them like wind through a forest. Some found this difficult at first. The mind stirred with restlessness, craving distraction, seeking escape. But in time, the bells trained the heart as gently as the tide trains the shore. With each ringing, the soul returned again and again to the present moment. The punishment was not harsh. It was simply repetition. Return, 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 until the soul remembered how to listen. Legends tell of monks who tended the bells, though they spoke rarely. Their duty was not to command, but to care, to polish the bronze, to mend the ropes, to ensure each tone carried clearly into the night. When they struck the bells, they did so with reverence, knowing the sound was not only heard by ears, but by the very spirit. It was said that one bell, the largest of them all, carried a tone so deep it could be felt beneath the feet, like the heartbeat of the earth itself. Another bell, small and bright, was thought to echo in the stars, its sound rising higher than the eye could see. Each bell was more than metal. Each was a voice of nature, of cosmos, of soul. For those who lived in the cloister, these bells became inner companions. Even when silence filled the hours, the heart began to echo their tones, carrying them inward. The soul learned patience. The soul learned presence. Now picture yourself lying beneath the tower, the bells above. The stars shine faintly through the open arches, and a breeze moves gently through the vines. A bell rings again, soft and low. The sound washes over you like a tide, flowing across skin, flowing into breath. You close your eyes. In the sound, you see waves of light spreading outward, gentle circles expanding across a dark pool. Each circle touches another, overlapping, weaving together. You realize that your own actions are like this, sending ripples outward into the world. And then, the silence after the bell teaches you something too. That not all ripples need to be made. That stillness has its own presence, its own power. The cloister was a place of balance. It reminded souls that life was not only noise nor only silence, but the union of both, the ringing and the pause, the voice and the breath, the action and the rest. In this way, punishment turned to harmony. What seemed at first confinement revealed itself as freedom. For what greater freedom is there than to rest fully in the moment, without need for past or future? The bells did not scold. They did not demand. They guided. They reminded. Their voices called the spirit back, again and again, until even without their sound, the heart had learned to stay. You need not seek them. You need only listen. Each sound, each pause is part of the same song. The universe itself is a cloister, and you are resting within its walls. Let yourself drift deeper. Let the bells ring softly in your chest, in your mind, in your dreams. Feel the silence that follows as a blanket of peace. You are held in rhythm. You are held in rest. Now rest as though the last bell has rung and the silence after has become your home. Let us drift onward, carried by the music of stillness. Now sleep as the stars return. Have a sweet dreams.